we are going to move on over to Spirit of the North, being ran by MisterChowtime.
Hey, how's it going? I'm MisterChowtime. You can just call me Chowtime if you want. First questions first. What is the bid war incentive? Because I think it's time to set this fox color.
All right. Bid war incentive looks like Orange has taken it at $56.
Alrighty. We'll set it to. There we go. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up now. Time will start on first movement. I'll go and call it out when it's about to happen, and we'll get started. So, just like every good speedrun game, it starts with an unskippable cutscene, so that every time that you play it, you have to watch it. Which, funny story for y'all on the bid war that we had going on. One of the colors was the red and black. Red and black is unlocked for 100%ing the game. And last night, around midnight, my save file corrupted and I lost everything. So I stayed up until the wee hours of the morning unlocking everything to unlock that skin to make sure it was available for the bid war. And the funniest part about it all is Orange 1, which is the default skin, meaning I didn't have to do that at all. But, to be fair, Orange is my second favorite color, so I'm happy it won. Alright, and I'll give you a countdown because time's about to start. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and start. So we're going to go ahead and just explain the game a bit. You can see there's kind of a red trail in the sky. This land that we're in has, much like the Kingdom of Hyrule in the last game that we had going, it's filled with blight. And right now we're just a normal little Foxo. We don't really care about it. We're just doing our, Foxo thing. Last game that I ran for Fastest Furs had a dedicated meow button. This one has a dedicated yip button, so it seems to be a theme with my games nowadays. But we're going to be doing our normal Foxo thing that would get interrupted in the normal game by seeing a spirit Foxo that would, catch our attention and we would interact with them a bit, and then some stuff happens. However, in the speedrun, we miss all of that in the first level except for one part. And that one part, hopefully, I can skip too, but it is very hard to skip. So coming up here, we're going to have our first trick. I don't know if I should call it a trick. We're going to have our first out of bounds, which this game is full of, which I personally love. I'm going to come up here, jump to the side, jump up this rock, and then jump over. I didn't get a good jump, so I need to turn into this snow patch here. Jump through here. All right, and now we're out of bounds. And now we have this giant iceberg barrier thing in front of us. And just like in real life, for all of the geologists in the crowd, all the geologist enthusiasts, just like in real life, inside of this iceberg is a default plane from Unreal. They're kind of everywhere. But the reason we're jumping so much right now, by the way, is you do not unlock the ability to run until halfway through the first stage. So jumping is going to be the fastest way until then. Which is actually, we're about to do. You can actually stay out of bounds the entire time and get to the end. However, doing so, you miss the trigger to give you run, which significantly slows you down. But luckily, when we're out of bounds, there's this little crevice right here that we can just go in, jump down, and we're back in bounds. Just gonna hop along. Hopefully people find the fox dive where they dive into the snow super cute, because this jump is gonna be in the run the entire time. Okay, but now we have run. Usually there's a Spirit Foxo here that gives us the ability to run, but we skipped activating them way earlier, so now we can't. And these right here are the ice slides, which is the whole reason that made me want to speedrun this game in the first place, because doing those ice slides are so much fun. And then in the speedrun, you do them in this level and never again. So it was a good incentive to start, but ended up not. So this wall here, the Spirit Foxo is supposed to take down for us, but we don't have the Spirit Foxo, so we're just going to jump over it. Now we got more ice slides. And then just full heads up, the next chapter is, as me and my friends like to call slowdown sections, a Red War section. So that'll be a great place for donations, just a heads up. Because there is not a single trick in that area. It is a walk to the end, and that is it.
Oh my.
But we got one more trick in this level, and then chapter 3 is when the game really opens up and starts being trick heavy. But right now we're just going to be doing some running along. Not really a whole lot to explain outside of the skip that'll be coming up near the end. So if you have any donations or anything like that now, feel free to read them out.
I do have a few here. I have a $5 donation from JD Puppy, who had put in money towards the Black and Red Fox just before. And we have one from Agius as well, a $20 donation towards the Black and Red Fox from your local Saint 14 Simp. Again, thank you very much, JD. Thank you, Agius. And Anonymous, whoever you are, thank you very much for the $50 towards the bonus game. What time is it? Chow time. Good luck on the run.
I have no idea who would have sent that one, but I absolutely love it. Thank you. Thank you to all the donations, too.
Would
So
you
this
say
part,
this is... Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
no. Sorry.
we just got more ice slides here. Chaining these together can be a bit rough. Like there, I missed the last one, but well, this is the trick. So let's see if I can hit it. This is, I would say, the second hardest trick in the run. So we're gonna come up here, and I barely did not hit it. If you land a little further forward, there's that ice slide there, and you'll slide through this cutscene. But there's the Spirit Foxo. We were introduced to them like a few miles back, but apparently we just now see them. And if we go fast enough here, we'll actually get to see an animation skip from the Spirit Foxo. So the Spirit Foxo is supposed to be ahead of us right now, but we're ahead of it. So you'll just see it disappear there and suddenly appear on the right. And then we're about to have another cutscene, which I think is the only other cutscene that we can't skip. So there's the blight. You'll see those like red orbs. And that's very much the blight that we're trying to get rid of. And normal beings can't really exist around it, which is why we kind of just fall over. We're not dead. We're not doing so well. But Spirit Foxo comes to help us.
Would you say now is a good time for a donation readout?
Oh yeah, we're going into chapter 2, so this is the time that there is nothing for me to explain.
All right. Well, we got a $15 donation from Brosentia/Digby. Let's get that 1K. Excited to torment staff members in the gauntlet tomorrow. Which does set us at 1K so far.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, we have another donation from King Panda 95. Best luck on the run. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, very much appreciated. This run, there's a few sections on it that have very tough jumps and platforming to do, so any luck is going to be needed.
Is this average Fox behavior?
I like to believe so. Maybe not the limping part. That part's a bit sad, but everything else, average fox behavior. Little did we know, in reality, foxes are the savior of the world. I mean, Ratatouille probably knows that better than like anyone with the games that he runs, but little did the rest of us know. You get a little slide here. So this section is meant to give you all the exposition and the backstory as to what this world is and like what's going on here. But to experience that, you have to slow down. So the good news is about the speedrun is by the time you get to the end, none of the story is going to be ruined for you. So if you do want to play the game and go in like a fresh set of eyes, not knowing anything about the story, you can still do that. And I would honestly suggest that if anyone is interested in the game has a beautiful narrative, wonderful music, great locales, and a wonderful world building to it. So, like, the whole thing that got me, like, after, like, this is one of the few games that whenever I beat it, I just suddenly had to sit there and just be like, damn, that was something else. And it's a small indie game that goes on sale all the time, so definitely worth a pickup if anyone gets interested from it.
No, we're skipping the big mech fight. We have another donation from the Mendoza family for $5. The magic conch has spoken. It says do the turkey call.
I told them if they donated twice, I would be happy to do it. So they put the first one in while they do the second one.
Oh?
So you'll see kind of these on the wall there. Those explain the story, and the spirit foxo, you can probably hear it in the background making like a fire sound, is igniting those so that we can read them and see what they're doing. But again, that slows us down. And if anyone in the crowd is interested in making video games, I'm just going to say Video Game 101, if you want someone to interact with something, putting it like that in a spotlight is probably a good idea. However, to interact with that slows us down, so we're going to ignore it. Those are the shaman staffs, if anyone is interested. You have to collect 28 of them to be able to unlock every skin in the game. I guess I should say there's one very small amount of tech to this area, and that's knowing where the hidden rocks in the snow are that will slow you down when you hit them. But that is it.
You really weren't kidding.
Yeah. There is another section fairly similar to this later in the game, but at least we have full movement controls and everything's wonderful at that point, and it's a beautiful environment. Not to say this cave isn't beautiful. I mean, we have this wonderful area here that, again, Game Design 101 is telling us to go here and interact with. This part is always so sad, though, because the fox is whimpering and limping and we're just trying to make it to that pool.
The fox could probably use a warm shirt. Like the shirts that we're selling.
I was looking at those designs last night, and I was like, ooh, which one is going to be my favorite? And I looked at them and I was like, I just can't decide which one's my favorite. I like them all so much.
They're so nice looking. I really want that logo shirt. I keep staring at it the entire time. Have it pulled over on a tab.
I can't blame you.
And hey, each one you get, $5 from each shirt purchase, will be donated to Trans Lifeline, and they're only going to be available until the end of the event. So, hey, you only got a few days, so why not do it now?
So here is what I forgot about as a cutscene. The third and final cutscene, our Foxo dies. And the Spirit Foxo is leading us here for a reason. It's because this pool is like a healing pool. We got here a little late because we still died, but Spirit Foxo is going to do something to help us out. The Spirit Foxo here is giving their spirit to us so that we can continue on. And that unlocks the spirit powers for us too, which we unlock more of them as we go throughout the game. So next chapter, which will be coming up very soon, is when we'll kind of get to start exploring those.
Well, we have another $5 donation from the Mendoza family. Now the conch has spoken once again. It's time for that turkey call.
Fair enough. They held up their end, so I'll hold up my end, and we'll just give them the... Oh, good times. Right, this is now where the run gets more optimized and more opened. So first things first, the little thing, like this game is a very easy game to learn to run and a very hard game to master to run. Like going to the left side of that pillar there instead of the right skips a cutscene, which is only found out fairly recently from what I understand, like a year ago. And this game has been out for a while. And there's just a few places that we can do minor stuff like that to skip cutscenes and stuff like that. And there is a stamina gauge in this game. When you hear the Foxo panting, that means you are out of stamina. So we're going to go for our first skip there and barely get it. You're supposed to lower those rocks so that you can jump off, but instead we just use that little thing. And we're going to skip this section, or we're going to mess up the skip. We'll just go around because it'll be quicker than attempting to skip again. So one of the mechanics now, the bark button does have a functionality. It gets the spirit flowers to bloom, which will then give us spirit energy. And one of the main mechanics is depositing that spirit energy to have events happen and progress you in puzzles. Which most, if not all of the puzzles we skip, but we do have to interact with the environment. So we get that to drop down. We're going to come over here, aim just to the left of that, stand on the air, jump up here, and now we're good. Now we're going to jump over here, use these higher platforms, and then jump over here, skipping that entire puzzle. Play it a little safe. All right, and then coming up is going to be one of the... I shouldn't say one of the, it is the hardest skip of the run. And you're doing a blind jump onto a very small amount of invisible geometry. And then you have to platform off of that. So I missed it there. Okay, I got that. Okay, we're good. Deposit the spirit energy there, and that'll drain the water, skipping the whole puzzle. And then I'm going to use this little cinematic here to get my energy back while it's doing that. Chapter 3 is, if you do ever want to learn to run, the hardest chapter in the game. So we're going to deposit that there and then pick it up from this one. gonna deposit it here and stand on top of it. You can skip this one, but it is like a pixel perfect jump, and you can lose a lot of time trying. This skip has been patched on later versions in the game. They've moved this rock stack back so that you can't just do that and skip this puzzle. And if I make it far enough, I can get a 1 cycle, which I think I did. We'll see. Yeah, it should be a 1 cycle. Good. So now we have another area where we're supposed to unlock the geysers like that. Doing a little puzzle here, but if we aim this right, we can carry momentum from that to ride up onto the wall, and then we're going to just skip that. Normal Foxo behavior, after all. I mean, Foxos are cunning, and we're finding ways outside the intended way to get past puzzles, so I would say that's pretty cunning.
Didn't know foxes were so good at clipping through everything.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Oh no. Oh no, my controller is fighting me apparently. That's fine.
Hey, speaking of talented foxes, we're only $105 away from getting the attempt dragon skip in Kingsley's Adventure, if anybody wants to send any donations that way.
This area is an area that has been patched in later ones. You're not supposed to be able to jump in here, but if you just keep spamming it, there's a few frames after a jump that it just lets you jump again. So we're going to just keep doing that and kind of platform up these rocks. It's hard to aim it up because you have to continuously jump, but we'll just go over them and then we'll leave this level. Now this one is the one that probably has the most famous trick for the run on it, and it is amazingly fun to watch. So hopefully we get it first try, because if not, this is one that if you miss it, you have to restart the whole chapter to do it again, and it's still faster than going the intended way.
Would now be a good time for donations?
Yeah, we got a bit before we get to that trick.
Okay. Well, we have a few more donations. One from Midivix for a $10 donation. I wish I was a fox. I hate being a hairless ape. Good luck with the run. Thank you very much. And we have another from Lock and Kane. Best of luck for a successful event. And thank you very much for the $10 as well. And that sets our attempt dragon skip at 100. Oh, sweet.
Good. The canon logic in my head now is anytime that I hear someone say first try in this marathon, I'm going to think of it spelled F-U-R-S-T. So let's see if we can get a first try on this so we can, give it a test run. So this is an area that people either refer to a lot as mountain goats or as the Skyrim horse. And it actually has a new route now that's a little faster, but it's a lot harder, and I'm not very good at it. So we're going to stick with an older one that's just a little slower. So if we come up here, I'm going to just kind of wiggle back and forth. No, not that bad. And then jump up here, jump back, jump back, jump back. All right, and we're out of bounds now. I want to be careful with my stamina gauge here, because if I do get too exhausted, it's a lot harder to do this skip. So I'm going to take it a little slow here to make sure I have enough stamina. And we're going to aim for the edge of that rock there. And okay, we're good. And as long as we don't land there, we're good. So that one is the skip that probably gets the most attention from people watching. If you ever thought a flying fox was a type of bat, little did you know there are more than one type.
I'm
Doing
learning
it that
so
way,
much.
it skips so much too. Like there's supposed to be like a lot of buildings loaded in here. You can kind of see the remnants of them over here. And this area is heavily corrupted with blight. Um, and usually that would be a very bad thing because you can't interact with the things you need to interact with to finish the story. However, this is the only chapter in the game that doesn't have a load zone ending. It does a long ice slide, or I guess water slide, and it loads the new chapter in that area. And if we position ourselves correct right here, then we'll hit a save point there. And that save point is saving in the first area of the next chapter. So we're just going to quit out and then reload. And now we're in the next area. So luckily, we can completely skip any puzzle there. We can even skip loading the puzzles there. We're going to have frames drop here because it's loading in a whole hell of a lot. And there's a puzzle here we're supposed to do, but instead we're just going to run up this wall. This game was made by a very small group of people, and they did an amazing job on the narrative and everything. But there's a few bugs in it, like, you know, in small indie games, and I think they just add so much charm to it. We also now have a glitch that will never go away. In the bottom right, it will say that it's saving constantly because we used a save point manipulation, which isn't too bad, except it makes it where I lose a visual cue for a loadout. Oh, that was such a good bounce. There's also very small optimizations to the run that, if you do well, never get noticed, such as you shake out your fur whenever you get out of the water. But if you jump the moment you get out of the water, it skips that animation. Now we want to be careful with stamina on this hill too. But we're about to come to another area where it's going to be a lot of running. So if we have any donations lined up, that would be a good time for them. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, this also has a dedicated wag your tail button. Alright, so we're supposed to do a puzzle here, but we're going to jump to these rocks. And over here, kind of just skip that puzzle instead. We're gonna kind of aim for the green areas here. And this is another out of bounds that's kind of been patched on later versions. Come on, grab the rock. There you go. Like, you can't use the same path to get out of bounds, but the concession is that rock that I just had to run around there is completely hollow and you can just run through it instead. So the two different patch versions of the game have their own different strategies to it, and some of them seem weird, like that one. Like, I don't understand why they would disable the collision on that. But now's a good time for donations because we're very much out of bounds, and we're just running to the end of the level now.
All right, we do have a few donations. One from Anonymous, whoever you are. Thank you very much for the $65 towards the Attempt Dragon skip. And we have another here from Timberwolf Trading. Thank you very much for the $20 donation. Someone ahead of me bought breakfast on the way in, so I'm paying it forward. Hey, thank you very much. And we have another from Zephyr Floofy Dirk for $15. Best of luck with this weekend. Let's break some records. And for the Kingsley Adventure Attempt Dragon Skip, we are just $10 off it. If anybody wants to throw a quick donation this way. And for the record, Timberwolf Trading are the ones who are making all the shirts for this charity event, which you can pick up here And every shirt purchase, $5, will go towards Trans Lifeline. And they're only going to be here till the end of the event, so you might want to do that fast.
We're almost at the end of this chapter now. This chapter is the longest chapter in the game, hands down. So the fact that we just get to run to the end of it is such a good time save. But it is also, if you're doing a casual run, probably the best chapter in the game. It is very scenic, very beautiful, and you get a whole lot of story from this one. So we've almost made our way to the corruption source, which is where the end of the game takes place, but we cannot just run up to it. It will be there in a very low poly model, but we cannot interact with the thing that ends the game, so sadly we can't just run up. But what we can do is kind of try to line this jump up and want to land on that plateau down there. That looks good. So what we're aiming for now is to hit an invisible load zone, and it will take us to the next chapter. And I think it'll be a little bit this way. Nope, a little bit this way. Yep. All right, so now we're in chapter 6. We unlocked 2 spirit abilities in that chapter, but since we skipped it all, it just gives it to us here instead. So now, just like in a Tunic, we get a spirit dash ability for Foxos. Little did we know it was a ability that all Foxes had innately in them. And we also get the ability to astral project. So we're going to leave our body behind there and do a super bark, which we also unlocked. Get our spirit energy back. The reason that we do the spirit bark there is because there is... Oh, I missed an input. It's because there is a bit of blight that is on the other side of this wall that you're supposed to interact with, and we can just hit it through the wall instead, and it's faster. Apparently, it is not particularly consistent, but I've never had an issue with it, so I'm happy it worked. And I was super terrified that during the marathon run would be the first time that I had an issue with it. Right, so we saved that shaman, and he's going to take this wall down for us. I'm going to come over here, bark at those to get them to interact. Interacting with those will open this door temporarily. However, it closes fairly quickly, and in a normal game, you're supposed to do a puzzle in that room to then reopen the door. But we are just going to be right here, so we're just going to run forward and get through that way. We're going to pick up the staff because we need it in an area later. It's supposed to be used to save a shaman in this room, but we're going to use it for a shaman in a different room. And this is a fairly precise jump. All right, we hit it. Good. Doing that, and we'll just skip another puzzle. These rocks are going to drop down because we put our spirit energy in there. And this puzzle is supposed to be a weight puzzle, but instead of doing that, we're just going to use the weird collision on these rocks. Climb up. And then we're going to give him his staff, and he's going to open the passageway for us. And this is the area that I lose my visual cue on from having that constant save message. But if we just run up here, stand next to the fox statue, that should give it enough time. We're going to quit and reload. Funny enough, if you do that skip on version 1 of the game, you'll just fall through the map. But what that does is that gives us the spirit energy that we didn't have, because in a logical sense of solving that puzzle, you should end with spirit energy. So reloading the save, gives it back to us. And that was a bad jump, so let me go back and try again. I'm gonna jump on top of here, top of there, aim for that rock there. Okay, we're up. All right, and that is, for the most part, Chapter 6 done. We just got to run to the end of the level now. And the reason that we want Spirit Energy, you can do that skip without Spirit Energy, but you have this section here that is a forced slowdown area again. However, if we have the dash with the Spirit Energy, we can just keep using that and spam it, and it's so much faster.
Would now be a good time for donations?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a $10 donation from some weird hyena for the attempt dragon skip. No idea who they could be, but they sound quite handsome. And we have a $20 donation from Bees the One. Excited to see Rad run that Fox game we all know and love. Thanks go out to everyone who put this event together for a good cause. And a thank you very much, Bees the One. It's our $20 toward the attempt dragon skip, which meets our goal for the Kingsley run coming up. And we have another $5 donation from Xerxes saying trans rights. And thank you very much, Xerxes. Also, hello, Xerxes.
All right, so what has happened here is we're now playing as the Spirit Foxo. Well, let me explain it here in a second, because this skip is very precise. So let me just focus up for a second. Need to do that. Need to do it again. And need to be careful not to bonk. And got it. Okay. Now we're going to run down here, activate the store from behind. But we're in the spirit world now. We're playing as the Spirit Fox, so our physical body is overcome with blight again and can't move. So we're coming in here to kind of fix that issue. Which it doesn't look like it right now, but I'm fully out of bounds again. It'll become more obvious when I get to the point that I need to be. This part, honestly, was probably the hardest part of the game for me to learn, just because it's running through a forest that looks very samey in a lot of areas, and I was constantly getting lost. I just want to stay to the right of these trees here. Come up this hill. If I did it right, I should see a rock. Yep. And just to the right of that will drop me back inbounds. Which, as you can see now, we're seeing everything from the reverse side. There is a potential for a soft lock in this area, but if it does soft lock, the backup is just to load the next chapter since I'm on 100% save file. I don't know what causes the soft lock either. It just randomly seems to happen. If you haven't rescued any of the shamans, this area will be very void, and I know it looks void right now, but coming up you'll see we kind of get to a palace that a lot of the shamans are at, and they just won't be there if you haven't rescued them. So we interact with this door first to get it to start opening while we're doing this. So we deposit spirit energy there. You'll start them doing the revive process. Once that music kicks in, we're good to start moving. And we're going to be going out of bounds again. We just climb up on the fox statue because this opens from the top and it'll let us get over it a little quicker. This jump is more precise than it seems. Made it. Alright, so now we're just going to use this area over here to climb out of bounds and back the same way we came. So you want to kind of line this up. Made it. And now we're back out of bounds, and we're just going to run back the way we came. The good thing about being in the Foxo dimension, or I guess the spirit dimension, is that you just have unlimited spirit powers. Not only that, but you have unlimited stamina too, so you don't have to worry about like sprinting and running out of breath. But as long as we don't get a soft lock here, we'll be going into the final chapter, which is no puzzles or anything. It's just us getting to the end.
Such a gorgeous game.
No. So this area, actually, the full explanation, when you revive the shamans there, they create a bridge of light that you have to run through, but it swerves through the forest and it's super slow to actually run on it, which is why we go out of bounds and just do a straight line instead. So if we're lucky, we won't get the soft lock here. Okay, we did not get the soft lock. That's good. So we join back up with our physical body, now revived better than ever, feeling like we can face the world. Going into the final chapter. And you get a full explanation as to the world, how we're saving it and all that, but we're just going to run past it. We can now run out of breath again. We just got to climb to the top of the mountain now. You can also go out of bounds here and see the world like from the earlier stages in low poly form, which is pretty cool to see, but there's no use for it. And then time will be coming up fairly soon, like a few seconds now. And this goes completely wide as time, so time. And the ending seems anticlimactic when you do it on the speedrun timer, but the reason that we do is because this section would be a set time otherwise, because what you're waiting on is the Spirit Foxo to run up this path and get to the top with us. And it takes them a while. They're on a set duration, so it would just be the same time every time. It would be... But if you're wondering what the story is about, it's a love story. Your Foxo, here's your Vixen over here. And kind of just sums it up. The only thing left is if anyone wanted, you get to see the final cutscene, but I don't know where we're at for time.
40-10.
Alrighty, then we're all good to go. We're all good.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everyone that donated. Let's see how high we can get this train going. I know it's been a wonderful one already, and thank you so much for having me.